Am I audible? So we'll start with the next session here for this course of on silicon photonics integrated circuits for quantum communication. So till now we have understood some basics of this photonic IC integrated circuits. Now we will go in the details of the fabrication technology. So now you know that these are the different fabrication technologies that are available. You have silicon photonics or indium phosphide or silicon nitride like we discussed before going on the break. So now the next part I told you, after your design and simulation, the last part is the fabrication part, which is the most challenging part. Anybody who has been working in this field will be telling you that this is the most challenging field in any technology or any hardware. You know this with the hardware also. If you read the theory in the class, it's very easy, but when you have to design that circuit, it becomes very challenging in the practical. So what happens here in this fabrication technologies when you are talking about is, just think of it like this, that I showed you the components, I showed you the PICs, all the dimensions were in nanometer scale. That was the dimension of here. Nanometer scale precision or micrometer scale precision is a very challenging thing to do, right? And if I told you that the whole technology works on two factors, one is the dimension, another is the material. So if the structure, if it is not precise on nanometer scale, then your device will not perform. The whole circuit will not perform. That is the biggest thing. So that's why when we come to the fabrication of this, and that's why these technologies, that is the biggest, you can say, hurdle which this technology is facing right now, or why is it not growing to its maximum is this, that the kind of precision that you require in this fabrication, that is like enormous here. So I already told you about the different technologies. Now those, how will you fabricate it? So the first thing that you do is your substrate preparation. So the foundries and all, what they do is, first they have a substrate on which the entire chip is made. Tomorrow we will show you, where as we progress it along the course, we will show you how the circuit layout. So I told you, you have the circuit view. Now you know what is the top view. You have all done engineering drawing, right? From the top, how will it look? For example, if I design the layout of this building, you know how from top the rooms will look. Exactly like that, how the rooms or how the circuit will look when you have the layout of or the view of that circuit. That when you see, you will realize that the first thing that we do is your substrate preparation. That is, you have the silicon on insulator. You have silicon on insulator is SiO2. Its refractive index is 1.45. So like I told you, if your core is silicon, then your refractive index is 3.45. So what was the rule for total internal reflection? Light should guide from denser region to rarer region. Right? So light should travel from denser. So denser becomes silicon with refractive index 3.45. Outside you have rarer, which is SiO2, which is 1.45. So that is why it is silicon on insulator. Next thing is your indium phosphide. I told you indium phosphide. Why? Because you can have laser on chip. Then there is silicon nitride. So these you make the substrate first with this. Then you do the waveguide fabrication. So we already know now what is a waveguide. Waveguide is which guides light through the circuit. Now what you do is, what are the steps? This is when you go into the details of any course, you will learn about it. The first thing that you do is your photolithography. What is a photolithography is, you whatever waveguide. So for example, you have a structure like this. I told you this is my PIC and this is my waveguide here. Like this. So this path, the waveguide has to be here. You will have silicon, that is why, and surrounding here your substrate is SiO2, let's say. On that, from the top, this is a silicon material and you want light to guide through it. How will you fabricate this actually? That is what I am telling about. So the first step that you do is your photolithography, where your mask will define. So you use, we are not going into the details of fabrication, but just to tell you this, you put a mask on this SiO2 and then on this silicon, you will put a mask, and then with that you you define the waveguide structure on your substrate. Then the rest of the material, wherever you wanted your waveguide, it is there. The rest of the material you will etch it out. What is etching? You just remove it. When I say the literal English word is etching, means you are removing that material. So around that material, here I have silicon everywhere. Over here I put a mask, and rest of the places I etch out silicon. So what is happening is you will have silicon which is high refractive and SiO2 low. Rest of the places everywhere it is etched out. And there is material deposition. Material deposition is a very simple. So everything I tell you, you try understanding using the literal English versus deposition means you are depositing a layer of material on that. What will be that? It is written here, layers of material like silicon nitrides are deposited using chemical vapor deposition or physical vapor deposition. What you do is you make a vapor of these like silicon nitride, whatever it is, and in this waveguide structure you will just deposit that material. But all this etching, masking or material deposition, all this is in which scale when I am talking about? Though it is easy when you have to do it on this big scale, here I am talking about is your nanometer scale dimension. Then there is, like I told you, you will have two types of components. You have passive components and you have active components. So for active components, again there are methods how you fabricate. There is a method which is known as epitaxial growth. If it is written here, what does that mean is that these 3-5 semiconductors, you have learned the periodic table, group 1, group 2, group 3 like that. So the 3-5 elements, those semiconductors, they are directly grown on this substrate. Then it is known as monolithic integration. Monolithic means basically one entire means on that itself substrate you will try to grow it monolithically. Okay, so that is it. Then there is hybrid bonding. So what I am trying to tell is, let's say I have my substrate here, and on this first I design my waveguide. Okay, this is my waveguide structure. This is a passive component. Now for active components, what I do is I can either have a growth, means epitaxial growth means they are grown directly on the substrate. Here I grow my modulator here. Okay. Another thing is hybrid bonding means I fabricate this modulator somewhere and I get it bonded here. That is your hybrid bonding. Then there are metal contacts. So what are metal contacts? Like I told you, you have a modulator. What will a modulator have? A message signal, a carrier signal, and you will get an output as carrier is optical. But what is message? Message is a basic electrical signal. So now this whole thing is a PIC, photonic integrated circuit. In my modulator, I have three things: a message. This is the next one is your carrier. Both are coming. Carrier is optical, message is electrical. So this electrical signal also I have to give to this device. So for that, how will I give it? I will create metal contacts over here. That metal contact, so that is called as giving this is called as RF plus DC. That is, we'll go into the details as we go it. But giving this message or electrical signal to the modulators requires, it is the electrical signal means I will require metal contacts. Otherwise, on a waveguide is a totally what? A photonic device. Photonic device, you can control photons. You cannot give electrical signals to it. So to give electrical signals to it, what do is we design or we develop these metal contacts. So they are deposited to ensure electrical connectivity for active components. So understood? Active component means I am controlling the photons through some electrical signal. How am I giving that electrical signal? By having some metallic contacts on my substrate. So this is my substrate. On this I deposited, I constructed my passive structures. Then I decided, okay, I want some active structures. For active structures, I can either grow it on that substrate, or I can fabricate it outside and come and do the bonding, simple bonding like you do. You do it in your PCBs also. You have done that, bonding and the third thing what you can do is your metal contacts. If anybody asks why the metal contacts, whatever electrical signal you want to give in your photonic ICs, for that you need these metallic contacts. Okay, simple and straight like that. Okay, now the next thing here is your okay. So till now everybody is understanding. Everything which I am doing or telling you is with the concept that you have no background about photonic. With this basic, at least you will have some understanding That is I am expecting even Sudhir to have some understanding of photonic circuits after attending it. Okay? He is a very important person, one who is handling your videos and all, right? So after attending all this, you will be able to answer our question. Now the second thing is we developed is your light source, very important, right? What was the light source? What we developed is, once I have a light source, it can be either off chip or it can be on chip. Now on chip is you grow it directly like you have indium phosphide. What if I have my whole PIC here, my whole PIC is here and my laser is here. If it is on chip, good and fine. My waveguide will connect everything. Over here I have these waveguides, your modulators, all the components. On chip everything will be happening. What if my laser is off chip? Once my laser is off chip, then what do? I have to send light from this laser to the circuit. Then only some light, the signal will flow. Like you say, your electrical signal. You have to somehow send that from your power supply. You take the electrical signal, you connect it to your breadboard. Then only light flows in that. Similarly, here you have to get that. What is that power supply in case of photonic circuit? Is your laser. I have it off chip. Now from here, I wanted to bring it to the photonic IC. How will I do it? Now the question is, you will say that laser is connected to an optical fiber. My laser is connected to an optical fiber and this is my waveguide. Good and fine. If this is fiber also has a core and a cladding, waveguide also has a core and a cladding. From fiber I will give it to the waveguide. Simple. The concept is the same. Here also there is a core and cladding. Waveguide also I have a core and cladding. Everything. Where does the problem arises is, again the two things I told you is your dimension and your structure and your material. Material is same, whether it is fiber also you have silicon SiO2. Waveguide also you have silicon and SiO2. But what will change is, in case of is this dimensions. When it comes to fibers, your dimension is in micrometer. When it comes to waveguide, the dimension is in nanometer. So what will happen? You have a big, let's say this is your photonic IC. You have a pipe over here. You want the connections over here. You want, let's say, imagine in terms of water. Water is coming from a big pipe and you have to connect it to a small pipe over here. Here the pipe dimension is of nanometer scale and the pipe from where the water is coming is of micrometer scale. What will happen? There will be a dimension mismatch. Simple, it will be a dimension. What will happen if I don't do a proper connection? Here the light is coming this much, here the light has to enter here. What will happen? Net, if you do not match them properly, the signal will get lost. Simple. So what you have to do is, you have to ensure light gets properly matched or coupled from fiber to waveguide. Dimension matches from big to small. How will you do that? For that there are this specific cover. So when I say this grating coupler or edge coupler, that is a very specific device we use to couple light off chip to on chip. To couple light from off chip to on chip, what do we do is, we use these grating structure. Grating, you know what is a grating? You have a periodically edged structure. It's a simple periodic structure. So you use these components called grating couplers and edge coupler to couple light so that light gets matched. There is no loss of signal from fiber to waveguide. How will you ensure there is no loss of signal from fiber to waveguide? By using a component in between which is known as your grating coupler. Okay. Now another thing is grating coupler used only to couple light from off chip to on chip? No, it is used for both. From this to this as well as from on chip to off chip. Grating couplers are bidirectional devices. It will work. So for example, we have photodetectors, everything on the chip. But sometimes what you want is, my photonic IC, we work only in optical. No, I do not want to convert into electrical. From here, I want to take out light also. I am sending light inside, I am taking out light also. That take out of what I am doing for the light. That also when I am doing, what will I require here is a vertical grating coupler. There is a fiber here, there is a waveguide here. So the grating coupler will couple from waveguide to fiber or from fiber to waveguide. Off chip to on chip or on chip to off chip. Whenever you have to take light from the chip or to the chip, which component we use are these grating couplers. They are very important structures that are used. So they are basically your interface to the external world. Okay. Now the last is your topic that we have is your packaging and testing. Now when you use this, I explain it to my very easy. You have a mobile, there are chips inside. You have a computer, you have chips inside. Everywhere there is chip. Do you give it to any user directly? This is my chip, you take it. What will you do? You will always package it and present it in a very nice form, right? Exactly over here. If you take this chip and you give it, your user comes and tells you that I need a modulator. Let's say I need a QPSK modulator or a ring resonator or a vertical grating coupler, anything. You design it, you fabricate and you give it that. Okay, this is my chip, you take it. What will he say? That no, I wanted something to be very convenient. It has to be as convenient like this, that I have my component here. Whatever component I tell you to design, whatever circuit I have, give me certain ports where, for example, here there is a cable. This computer has these ports here. You can connect your power, you can connect USB cable, you can connect everything directly. If they tell you that no, now you take 1 hour to focus it, align it and couple it and everything, what will you say? There are two vendors. You will say that no, this is highly complicated. I will go with one who gives me everything very properly packaged. That is exactly here. I am telling that in this circuit, in this photonic circuit, you will have optical signal, you will have electrical signals and everything. The user will say whatever is inside your chip, let it be. What I want is, I should be able to give optical signal easily, I should be able to give electrical signal easily. Simply, how will you do it? You will package it properly. You will package this. Now, optical signal will come through optical fiber. Electrical signal will come through your some copper wire, your PCBs, whatever you design. What they will tell you, so for example, I have a switch, the whole fan is connected to this. All you have to do is press the button, the fan comes. Internally, what wire is coming, you do not care. This is packaging. They will tell you, give me a probe here, give me a probe here, so that I can just connect my optical, connect my electrical, and let's say this is a modulator you design. It's a photonic circuit which is modulating. I have an optical output here. So give me 3 probes at your circuit so that I just connect and I get my output here. That is basically your packaging. So packaging and testing you understood. Now once you have packaged it, what is the next thing that you will do is, before giving it to the user, you will test it. That yes, my packaging is correct. As no, I give some optical signal here and it does not, or I give an electrical signal, it does not reaches there. What will you do is, you will package it, test it. So there is this, the other thing, like I told you, is whenever electrical is involved, there will be certain amount of heating also. You know that. So heating ke liye, what will you require? There will be, I have written here, the first point is thermal management. Heat sinks and thermal interfaces are added to manage the temperature, so that the product does not becomes very heated up. Electrical connects, wire bonding of flip chip to connect PICs to electrical. Similarly, the precise alignment of fibers and levers. So, you have a fiber, you have a laser outside, you have a photonic circuit here, you just connect it directly. That's it. That should be your packaging, that it is very convenient. There should be precise alignment. When I say precise alignment, means perfect, that my light launches here, it enters my chip without the user being worrying about it. Now what there is, I'll tell you this, in this field itself, only in packaging and testing, there is one institute in Ireland, which is called Tyndall Institute. It is known as, they specializes in this. So there is this Tyndall Institute, you go and check there, they so see in itself that it is such an emerging area of research that forget designing a PIC or fabricating a PIC or anything. Just even packaging a PIC is also an area of research. that itself ki aap, how well you package this whole product, that in itself, and people have done it there, they focus here. And you can also, whenever you get any chip fabricated, you can get it packaged. You can talk to Tyndall, and they also, it's a institute in Ireland, but they also give their services that yes, you can try and come and get your chip packaged with us, you pay us the money and we will give you a. So rather than giving a bare chip to anyone, what you can get is contact them and get it packaged. Okay, so again there are challenges involved. I told you material compatibility. When you have to have integration of materials with different thermal and optical properties, then there will be certain compatibility issues that will come. Dimension, again I told you, everything comes down to structure or dimension and material. So all that dimensions have to be precisely matched on nanoscale accuracy and process scalability. What does it mean is, though you can do it in lab, but can it be developed on a large scale? That is the thing. Any technology, whichever you have seen is commercialized, is because it was being able, though it technology might look very attractive in lab, but once you take it for a large scale and you are not able to implement it, what will happen? It will die out. It will not be feasible to have that technology. So that is how the whole thing works. Okay. Now there is, these are the future directions that are there. These are the foundries. Like I told you, you can fabricate it somewhere. Now where will you fabricate it? These are the foundries which are there in the world. There is Ames Photonics, which is in US. They have, so once I tell you that this is a foundry, what does a foundry does? Foundry will just fabricate your chip. They do not care about what your chip is doing, what functionality it is achieving, whether it is modulating or whether it is doing quantum computing or whether it is doing sensing or whether it is used for 6G, it will not care. Only thing it will care is you give me the design, I will fabricate it, that's all. So when I say that a foundry will fabricate a chip irrespective, that is your responsibility what functionality it achieves. What will you do is, they will first ask is which platform. I told you the technology. The moment you say that, okay, your whole circuit is designed using, let's say, indium phosphide. Ames, you will tell Ames Photonics, my technology is silicon photonics platform. They will say that, sorry, we do not work on that. So first thing they will very clearly is, what are the platforms which we can fabricate. If you want to get a design fabricated from us, make sure that you send your designs in our technology. So every platform or every foundry will always tell which platform they are. Then there are the design tools. I told you the one that we are doing, like we have this IMEC, Luceda Photonics tomorrow. They work in the silicon photonics. We'll show them about IMEC. This is a very renowned one. And why they have renowned is they give a lot of academic discount. So if your commercial chip will be available for, let's say, 50 lakhs, then IMEC will do it for, let's say, 10 lakhs. They give a lot of the academic discount. So what tools you will use? For example, Luceda Photonics is their tool, you can use them. And integration with electronics. This is very important thing that you have to remember is, since this technology is very new, many platforms or many foundries will say that yes, you can integrate electronic and photonic components on one chip. Many will say no, you can only have photonic, you cannot have electronics. Understood? So this is what Ames Photonics in USA. So if you take up this field, to all the students who are exploring, this is a very new field of research. You take it up and try pursuing PhD. So these companies offer jobs to it. So people who have graduated with PhDs in this, they are actually working in these companies in US and in UK and in Europe, because once you have the expertise, you have the expertise in the platform, that is silicon photonics technology, you have the expertise in their tools, whatever design tools they are telling, and how you can integrate photonics, then they will automatically help you with this. This is the one we are talking about. It is a very renowned European research institute, which is and this foundry has extensive capabilities. So, they have this foundry, IMEC, is not limited only to photonics. They do it in electronics and so many technologies. We have BiCMOS technology, so many technologies they have developed. So they have advanced materials. So they, like example, the first one was Ames Photonics that develops only in silicon photonics, while IMEC gives both the platform, that is silicon photonics as well as silicon nitride. So if you are some component, if you design a coupler, let's say using silicon nitride, you want to fabricate it You can send it to IMEC, they will say yes, we have the technology available, but Ames Photonics will say we don't have. That is how it works. That it is high volume manufacturing. So now they have moved beyond the lab scale to large scale production. So you can say yeah, that they support both prototyping. Prototyping is basically the lab में the prototypes we develop. Okay, this is some filter we want to design. एक होता है lab में you develop the prototype. One is the industry level. So they do both of them. And collaborative research, they are partnering with industries and academia to push the boundaries of PIC technology. So they are really aggressively supporting this, and they offer jobs and everything. Yeah. So this is a very good year. There is this Netherlands mein, this is a new company that is coming up, is Linux International. Then another one is Smart Photonics. So if you all do your MTech PhD in this field, you can. But you see, Smart Photonics is only focusing on indium phosphide. This Linux is only focusing on silicon nitride. Then Singapore also you have this Compound Tech. This is another foundry that is there. Then in Israel you have Tower Semiconductors. Like that there are many. If you go to this, there is in Germany, there is IHP in Finland, there is VTT. There are many companies around the world who are working in these technologies. If you go and Google it, that what are the companies which are working in silicon photonics technology, all this will come up. But what you have to do is, first you have to go and find out that foundry is working on which technology, first thing first. Second thing is, there is this word here called process design kit, we'll come to it, PDKs. What are the components that they have, which technology? For example, silicon photonics, they are telling whether they have couplers, whether they have only passive components or both passive and active components. You have to find out. So this has a very comprehensive PDK, means their design kit will have a lot of components available, and there is a global reach, means it is supporting customers worldwide. So now you know that okay, if I want to get my design fabricated, I have these companies around the world, these foundries around the world whom I can approach and get my chip fabricated. That now I know these are my components. I have a waveguide, I have a modulator, I have a grating coupler, I have these components, everything. I have my components ready, I have my foundry ready. Now I have to design and simulate it. So for that there are certain design or circuit simulation tool. Like I told you, there is numerical ANSYS. Today we'll see all these softwares that are available. Once you do the simulation, for example, when you do the PSpice simulation or your multisim simulation, your circuit is working. But is that exactly how your circuit gets fabricated? No, it will not. Does that actual layout looks like? No, for that you need layout design tool. This is what we are doing tomorrow. How will you place components? For example, you have a breadboard. You know that you will place your op-amp here, your resistor, your capacitor. How will you? Now you have to make it very small in a very compact way. How will you place those components around? Though you know the circuit is working, but where will I place it? How will I place it? That is called layout designing. So understood the difference between simulation and layout. Simulation means my circuit is working. I will connect these components and my circuit is working. It is giving the desired output. Once my circuit is working, the next thing that I want to do is I want to find out how to place it in the layout. That is my layout designing. So two parts understood, designing as simulation as well as game. So tomorrow we will have this by Luceda Photonics. Now the third important term is your process defined design kit of PDK. So every foundry, when I say that you want to design, let's say a modulator, and modulator, you know that it is an active component, very good, very fine, this is my chip. Now I want to fabricate this. You go to AMC Photonics, you go to IMEC Belgium, you go to, there are so many companies I showed you, foundries. They will say that we have our components. You want to design, let's say, a QPSK modulator. They will say, okay, this is a QPSK modulator, you have this modulator here. You have two options. What is, you design your modulator, you design, okay, this is my, this is SiO2 of 2 micrometer, then there is silicon, then there will be some active passive materials on it. You design everything. Or they will tell you that I have a kit. Like you go to the lab and you say that I want to resistor. Do you go and fabricate that resistor? No. What the lab assistant gives you is, okay, these are the resistors available. What you check is BB Roy, Great Britain, very good, the colors. And you say, okay, this is a 10K, this is a 100K. You automatically find out. whatever you require, 1K, 10K, you take that component, you put it in your circuit and you finish the designing. That is what you do. This is what the foundries are doing. They have a kit, they have these standard components. This is my waveguide, this is my modulator, this is my grating coupler, this is my photo detector. These are the standard components. You will say that what are their values? How is my coupler working? There will be some physical values, right? For example, you go, I say all these are resistors only. But every resistor has a certain value. You see the color coding and decide. Similarly, you will ask them, they will say, okay, this is my modulator ka bandwidth, this is my modulator ka modulating speed, everything. They will create a kit. A kit means a box where you will have all these components. And you take out the component you want, you put it in your chip over here, whatever it is, and you design your circuit. That the internal structure of that modulator you will not know. That internal structure is confidentiality of the foundry. But they will tell you that my foundry, my kit, these are the components. Output, what it will give, you know it. But the internal structure, you will not know it. What is that called? That is called as process design kit or PDKs. So whenever you approach any foundry, first thing you will find out is which technologies are they working on, and the second thing that you will find out is what is their PDKs. What is PDK is? A kit in which different components of their process design kit, following their process of fabrication, what are the components that are available. So this is written here. PDKs are essential for ensuring that the designs which you make, whichever design you have fabricated, they are compatible with specific foundry process. So if a foundry is there, its PDK will ensure that its design there is a compatibility. There are predefined components. So you will have different components, like you have the libraries in your programming also you do. What are the, it will have certain file, inbuilt files. So you do not have to actually go and write the tan ka formula or a cos ka formula. There is an inbuilt function available there. A random number, you can inbuilt function you can use. Similarly here there are these predefined components which you can use, like waveguides, couplers with verified performances. What does that mean is, if they are saying that my coupler will couple light, let's say you are launching 10 milliwatt of power, it will couple light with 1 milliwatt loss. So in the input you give 10 milliwatt, output you give 1 milliwatt. 9 milliwatt. 1 milliwatt will be a loss. That thing is a standard value. For example, this bulb is a 100 watt bulb. It's a very standard value, right? This mic has a standard some values. So this predefined components which are there in this PDKs, they have verified performances, means whatever value or whatever quality they will tell you, that exactly will be how they will be performing. So then you can easily trust their values and design your circuit. Then there are fabrication constraints. Obviously, when you design anything, you know this, when you are designing this table also, you cannot design anything of your choice. There are always constraints associated. When you are designing this building, the passage has to be, your passage cannot be this thick or very thick or very thin. There is a constraint on that. So anything when you start designing, there are these fabrication constraints. And integration with tools. So this is the other tools, how you can integrate that also, it is there. So process design kit, remember that a process design kit is a collection of components with predefined and verified performances and how you can use it in your circuit. Now the next thing is your DRC or design rule check. What is design rule check? Once you are designing something, you have to verify it, you have to check it. That is a very standard thing. Whether it is correct or not, the designing is correct or not, that is your DRC or design rule. That's you will do it in anything. Whenever you prepare your assignment, you also check it once before submitting it, right? You do not submit it. So you have to perform that design rule check. Okay. Then there is workflow integration and co-design, means electronic photonic integration. Now there is this concept of, these are the very technical concepts. When the Professor Pavesi will use it, you should be aware about these terms. That's it. For example, he uses the term process design kit or PDKs. Now at least if he uses the term PDK, everybody will know what he is talking about. Now there is another term called MPWs or multi-project wafer. I told you that fabrication is a very costly process, right? What is the way to foundry will fabricate? Okay, this is my chip whole chip area. This is my cost. Let's say this chip area is costing 1 crore. Now I'll say I don't have 1 crore rupees. What I can do? I'll find 10 other users like me. We divide that area into 10 plots, right? Everyone takes one and put their design in it. What am I doing? I am sharing that 1 crore by 10 users. So per user, how much will be now the cost? 10 lakhs. 10 lakhs is something I can afford. So then I will go for the fabrication of my design. That is called multi-project wafer run. That means your whole wafer is divided into multiple projects, and then the cost is shared by all the users. So it is in a multi-project wafer. Simple, if these are literal English words, is multi-project wafer runs means, run means how many times the foundry runs. Every time a foundry fabricates, you know what is a run? Like is one cycle, one complete So every time a foundry fabricates a component, it is called, the whole process is known as one run. Next time again it will fabricate, that whole will be second. So you will have a March run, a September run, a July run, a December run. What does that mean? It will once it will foundry will work in March, once it will foundry will run in July, once it will run in September, once it will run in December. You know the runs deadline. So you will ensure that you submit your design by that deadline. Right? You should know, the user should know. Once I know it, see, the term is multi-project wafer. A wafer is the entire area that is available. It run involves combining designs from multiple participants. So there are 10 users. Their designs will be combined onto a single wafer. That wafer is what that foundry will fabricate. This approach fixes the high cost of photonic fabrication amongst all the participants. I told you the entire wafer is costing me 1 crore. I divide it into 10 designs or 10 user designs, my cost comes down. So this is cost effectiveness. This shared concept makes multi-project wafer run accessible for research and prototyping. Just remember that wherever you are in this electronic industry also, if you go and check in they are just 70 years ahead of, in the 60s and all, when the transistors came up, they started, what they did is, if two scientists designed a transistor, you know who designed the BJT, who designed that you have read it. How did it become so popular? What they did is they brought this concept of multi-project wafer in their labs. They said to the students, okay, you all design using the transistor, you design one circuit, you design one circuit, you design one circuit. Like that, these projects were shared. So one cost was, now if, let's say I'm taking Subheda Singh, she has to alone pay a cost of 10 lakhs, she won't do it. But if the design is shared by 100 users and Sumedha designs something very new, and she will tell, okay, if my cost is only 10,000 rupees, I will definitely like to check whether my circuit is working. So because of this multi-project wafer, students really started submitting their designs, trying their designs, and then the circuit, this electronic industry grew rapidly. So this is a very important concept of multi-project wafer. Second thing is access to advanced foundries. Generally, these foundries are very advanced and costly. You will not get an access if one person tries to do it. But once you do it like this, once you share it, you can get access to advanced technologies. And standardization, that is, they rely on the standard platform. So you have compatibilities across this. Okay. So how will you now, once you complete the course, let's say I tell you that, okay, we are designing a photonic IC for BB84, it's a quantum protocol. Okay, what will you do first is, you will simulate it. Tomorrow we will be doing that. In the tomorrow, no, day after tomorrow we will learn about the tool. We simulate that. I got the output. Next, what I will do is, I have my circuit ready, my simulation output is ready. Now I have a photonic circuit simulation where I can simulate how it works for a particular quantum communication protocol. Next, what I do is, I select a foundry and a platform. So first thing is whether you want to send it to Ames Photonic or whether you want to send it to Luceda or whether IMEC, whatever. You select that foundry, and what I mean by platform is which technology I will be using, whether you are doing it for silicon or indium phosphide or silicon nitride, whatever it is. Then is design preparation. You have done your simulation in numerical or some circuit simulation tool. When you are going to fabricate, you will require those components from where? From the PDKs of the foundry. So this is what is, designers use PDKs provided by the foundry to create their layout. So your components are ready, your design is ready, but the component has to be from the foundry. Once you place the component from the foundry's PDK, what will you do is, you will perform your design rule check or DRC and verify them. Okay, so that it matches, everything is ensured. Then you submit your files and it will be fabricated and delivered to you. Now the question is, what you will ask is, I have submitted, when will I get my fabricated chip? So the turnaround time currently for photonic ICs is around 9 months, 4 to 9 months. It is a typical turnaround. So that is a very long time. So what will happen? Before submitting your design, before now, it is something like you are booking a car now and you pay 10 lakhs and you get it after 9 months. It is something like, what will you ensure? That the car you buy when you are putting 10 lakhs should be of best quality. You give 10 lakhs and after 10 months when the car comes to you, you will not say, okay, now this is not working, that is not working, I want to change it. They will not change it. They will say, this is what you ordered. So before this 10 months process starts, you have to ensure that your design is 100% correct. Every way it is integrated with the design rule check, the layout, everything is done, so that after 9 months, when you get it back, what will you do? The next is you will test it. When the car comes to you, what do? You go for a test drive, right? Whether it is working as I had thought, whether it is giving the same mileage and everything. So what will you do? You will test your chip, and if it does not work, what will you say? That my entire 1 year went wasted. So this is a time-taking process, but there is a very that wherever it is, time is involved. You need to have lot of patience, and when there is a lot of patience, your rewards are very high. So though it is not a very quick year, but it will be a time-taking process, but you will get good year out of it. Now the rest of it, I will be giving you your this notes we will be circulating for your reference. The next thing, that is your electronic photonic integration. Whether we can have all the electronic and photonic components on one platform. This is the next challenge, this is a very, that is why, because once my light is converted back into electrons, then what is that circuit? Is an electronic circuit. Electronic circuit is here, photonic circuit is here. What will you want as a user? Both of them should be on one chip. So that is where the foundries are working, that we can have electronic and photonic components on one platform. That is, again, these challenges are there associated with it, and there is a lot of research also in that field. Okay. Now where do you use this? Obviously we are doing the first thing, communication, we are doing this quantum communication and all. Photonic PICs have a lot of application in a wide variety of field. Photonic, the first thing is communication. The circuits, like you have your analog and digital communication, here you have quantum communication, 5G, 6G, you have these communications, you will have it. Data centers, you have these optical interconnects, high density A, you can, those servers and racks which you have, where when you say that your data is stored in the cloud, what is that cloud? Somewhere your data is stored, right? Those are where these photonic ICs will be used. It's not a cloud, it is Google ka server, right? When you have a Gmail account of the institute and you save everything on the Google Cloud, or when you do it on iCloud, what is that? That is not actually a physical cloud, it is some Google ka server or Apple ka server where your data is stored. Okay. Sensing is a very important thing. These biotechnology students are doing this. Whatever components which you have, the photonic, your modulators or those couplers and all this, you can also use to sense it. How will it sense this? Basically, I told you the important parameter in your A is your refractive index. Any light, when it passes through a certain material, what will happen is the material has a certain refractive index. Because of that, the light behavior will change. So that is where we use it. Satish has done one project on biosensors, right? So he used it for cancer cell detection. So basically on the chip he simulated that, he did not fabricate it. He had put some, simulated with some cancer cells on the top of these gratings, and then using the photonic light, once There was no cancer cells. The photonic, the light was showing particular behavior. Once you put cancer cells on that, the light shows some other behavior. What does that mean? You are able to sense that there is some cells which are present. So not just cancer cell, biosensors can be used for these early disease detection, DNA sequencing. There are hundreds of options. Environmental monitoring. There are pollutants, gases, which you want to measure, you can use it. Quantum communication, the whole thing which are yes. So our whole course is basically designed around photonic integrated circuit for quantum key distribution. Then there is 6G communication. So our VNIT Nagpur has a very good 5G lab here. We will show and we will discuss this. How in 6G, so you should visit that lab and you should see where are your opportunities for your, that is the purpose that we conduct all this. You can come here and see where you can apply your research, or you can do your internship, your summer project, your BTech final year project. So we are working on these technologies also, this 6G, where this PICs are playing a very important role. Sir will be, Professor Pavesi is coming, he works in this neuromorphic computing, these optical neural networks or high computational throughput. So when you talk about, like I told you, AI and machine learning, that is the front end. At the back end, a machine is doing the processing. That machine, when I am talking about, there these PICs play a very important role. So we will be, then there is LiDAR. So you know about radar. Radar is radar, sonar. You have heard about that. LiDAR is just what you are doing is detection, and when you send, for example, radar or sonar, what happens is you send a signal, the signal comes back to you. Whatever is the speed of that signal and the time taken, what will happen? You can calculate the distance of the object. That is the whole concept of whether it is sonar or radar. You take a signal, it hits that wall, or there is an aircraft, or there is sonar, whatever it is, it comes back. What has it? It has taken 10 seconds of time, let's say. So the roundabout time is 10 seconds. That is 2D distance it is traveling in a time 10 seconds. You know the speed of the signal, whether it is radar or sonar, whatever is the, you find out. If it is sound, you will have 330 meter per second. So you know the speed of light is 330 meter per second, and the time taken for the round trip is 10 seconds. So that means how much is the distance traveled? 330 meters. That is the round trip. So what is the distance of that object from this place? It will be 330 by 2. Right? Similarly, this concept is now coming up is LiDAR. That is light detection and ranging. So you know about these autonomous vehicles which are driven. You know the self-testing cars, that is your Tesla and all. How do they detect, that when it is a self-driven car, what is happening is the car is driving, it is sensing that there is some obstacle. That is what we also do. When we drive a car, we see that there is a bike over there or a human over there, and accordingly we navigate our car, right? What will the autonomous driving, the self-driving vehicle will do? They also have to sense these obstacles, and then they have to navigate or drive the car. So this provides high resolution 3D mapping for navigation and obstacle detection. Anything that vehicle has to detect what are the obstacles and accordingly move the car. That time this technology is very important. They send a light signal, they quickly measure it. And when you are driving, you know the speed at which you are driving, right? An object comes, I see her over there. For I quickly decided, my brain works very quickly. Now replace me with an autonomous vehicle, and she becomes an obstacle. It has to very quickly decide that, okay, there is a vehicle obstacle over there. Let me deviate to some other path and turn around her, navigate and go in an alternate path. That all thing has to be done very quickly. So this technology, this LiDAR and all is coming here. Healthcare and medical diagnostics. They are all another, in healthcare and all, if you go to this, the biomedical industry, they are really using this photonic ICs for these purposes. Nowadays, I know, have you seen about laparoscopic surgery? They put a fiber in your ear. So previously, they used to have to do all the, nowadays they put a fiber, usme light dalte and they check if there is any, for example, gallbladder mein there is some problem and all. Or most of the times what they do is they use fiber, they send the light and they see inside. Have you heard about this technology now? Right? That is so convenient. The doctor can directly see in your stomach if there is some problem or anything without performing any surgery. So this is how then healthcare, all this, the advance and all, it's now in the Western countries and all, this has come up. Okay. So obviously there are certain challenges as we go along. There is fabrication challenge, there is system level challenge. So as we go along, we will be covering all this in our circuit. Okay. So one more topic which I wanted to introduce to you today was, before we end is your, that is your quantum key distribution. So this I like to give the credit to Sumedha here. She has prepared these wonderful notes. So thank you, Sumedha, for this. Yeah, it's a really big help. So that once you have a concept something and you want to explain it to the student, she has put in really good figures and everything over here to explain what is. So the first part I told you, the whole course is about silicon photonics integrated circuit for secure quantum communication. So the first part, I hope now photonic circuits everybody has understood. Silicon photonics means the technology that we will be dealing will be silicon. That is what we have focused on, one technology here and done it. Now I told you that this PIC can be used for multiple platforms. What is the platform that now I am going to talk about in our entire syllabus? That is what Professor Pavesi will do. 2 days he will talk about photonics tomorrow, and on Thursday, Friday he will talk about this quantum communication. So what is quantum communication? This, whatever we show you here today is all the algorithms. Just remember that this is the software. Hardware behind, how will I implement? That is where photonic circuit is coming into picture. So now my hardware is ready. This hardware is the phone. What am I using for? Whether I am using it for talking on the phone to my friend, whether I am using it for video recording, whether I am using to see the latest news, that is the application. So the application here is quantum communication for our PICs. Okay. So Satish here is also, because now I am even tired of speaking about. So Satish here has also worked in ISRO. He has done a project on, he worked with ISRO scientists, and he designed, so like this is what I wanted to tell you, is that the ISRO, DRDO, they are really working in this field. So if you want, you can try internships in that these research lab. So he designed a photonic circuit for this DPQKD, CVQKD, the continuous variable. So this, I'll just tell you, cryptography basically. What is cryptography? Anybody? Sumedha. She is only here, she'll tell you. Basically, when I want to send some message from here to her, what will I do? I will encrypt it, right? How do I encrypt it? I want to make sure that the others don't understand what the message is. That is your cryptography. Hiding the message such that the anyone other than the two users who are intended for it should not be able to understand. That is cryptography. Okay. So this whole thing I have mentioned, we will be providing you with these notes, okay, so that you have a. Now this is here. This is the standard cryptography protocol around the world that we use. You have Alice, who is one person. You have Bob, the other person, and there is an eavesdropper in between. Who is the eavesdropper? Who will want to know what you both are talking. Sometimes on the phone, when you are talking to your friend, you don't want someone else, but someone will like to eavesdrop and see, so that we can get some information from gossip about what are you talking to your friend, right? So what you want to see, you see it over here. WhatsApp communication are totally encrypted. Now you talk about hundreds of things on WhatsApp to your friend. What if it is not encrypted and it gets leaked, right? So your cryptography or this is a very important thing in here. So what happens here is just the picture itself. Here will say you have Alice over here. She is communicating. She has some plain text, whatever message she wants. She will encrypt it. So what will she use? She will use some encryption key, so that my message gets encrypted into some confidential. That is my cipher text. That goes to Bob. Bob is the receiver over there. Bob, with the whatever key I have, I am Alice. Let's say Sumedha is Bob. Sumedha also has the key. She will immediately use and decode it. Now Satish is the eavesdropper. So that person becomes Eve. Understood? Alice, Bob, and Eve. What now the eavesdropper has to do? He has to find, if he wants to know what Alice is talking to Bob, what should he find out? That key. Once he gets the key, what will happen? He will immediately, whatever message I am sending, all he will do is he will apply his key and get all the information that I am giving to her or she is giving to me. So Alice and Bob are the two partners of the communication channel, and eavesdropper will always try to find the key so that he is able to get that information from that key. Okay. So these are the terms like symmetric key, asymmetric key. You can understand from here the same key, the different key. It is in the a public key, a private key. These are the types of encryption, decryption methodology that is used in order to encrypt or decrypt your message at the both end. Okay. So this is cryptographic terms. Okay. So if you have a this is your symmetric key. See over here the picture itself. She has made it very beautifully. You know, a picture is worth 1,000 words. You know that. There is a very famous saying. So if you don't want to read it, there is Alice, there is Bob, a single secret key you use, or is a private key and a public key. Like that, if you use, this is your asymmetric key. Now coming to quantum key distribution. This you will, as we go along, the details of quantum key, so quantum key distribution is a cryptographic method that enables two parties to share encryption keys. So the key that we are generating for communicating between Alice and Bob, that is now generated using principles of quantum mechanics. So if you have not read about principle, obviously that is a lot of quantum physics. We'll explain you here in the course. But what is the purpose of that is to generate the key. So using the quantum channel, you will generate the key, and then using the classical channel, you will communicate. That is how it works. Understood, everybody? Even if you have no idea, no background, you understood, right? Why are we going to use quantum key distribution? So that key, that encryption, decryption key, that I can generate. So what is the, why is this quantum key technology or quantum key distribution so famous or so becoming popular? First thing is no cloning theorem. So the key is being generated from the principles of quantum mechanics. We have not read about quantum mechanics, but there are two fundamentals over here. One is no cloning theorem. No matter what, so it is here. The no cloning theorem is a very fundamental. Cloning, cloning means you can create a duplicate, a copy. That is all. So this states that it is impossible to create identical copies of arbitrary unknown states. So with this quantum, this is very important. Another thing is this complementarity principle, which states that the certain properties of quantum system cannot be measured or known simultaneously with arbitrary principle. This is a fundamental. So you know the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Have you heard about it in your ear? So when you try measuring one property, the other properties will get disturbed. So this no cloning and this complementarity principle, this is what is making this quantum key distribution a very exciting concept. Okay. Now here, if it is PIC in quantum key distribution, okay. So time is up now, so we'll start. We'll just finish it and wrap it up in 5 minutes. You already understand. If it is PIC and quantum communication, what will be the medium? Photons. It will always be photons. So here it is written. That is why it is photons is the primary carrier of quantum information. A qubit or a quantum bit is a basic information. That is, so when we talk about quantum encryption, everything will be revolving around qubits. We will be learning that. And this is what are qubits? It is written here. Photons are the ones that acts like qubit. So that's why we are first dealing with the photonics part, then we are coming with the quantum part in the second part. Okay. How the protocol works, this quantum channel, see over here. This is your, using the quantum channel, first they will decide your key, prepare the key and everything. Once my key is generated, my Alice and Bob, then during the authenticated classical channel, they will do the communication. So this all we will study as we progress in the course. So you have these, now there are protocols, whenever there is a proper communication between two people, what will happen? You will need some predefined standards or protocol. So these are the protocols. There is a BB84 protocol here, you can see here. This is Alice, Bob. We will explain you as we are doing practicals also on this. This BB84 protocol. So we will go into, understood the BB84 or whatever protocol it is. It will be all about generating that key so that the two Alice and Bob can communicate and Eve is not able to hack or listen or find it out. The other one is DPQKD. This is here. This is coherent, one way or cow QKD, decoy, all this we will be studying. There is entanglement base and device. So this, even in this course it is written single particle entanglement, this all. Professor Pavesi, he will also cover here. Now all this, this limitations, everything we will progress. This is continuous variable QKD. In this, Satish has worked on it during his, as we progress along the course, he will tell us about what is this continuous variable, discrete variable and continuous. You know the discrete signal and the continuous signal. That is what we are doing here. What are the advantages? It's mathematics and everything. We will be dealing as we, so now I think after this 2 hour session, everybody has some idea about what we are going to deal with it. Okay, we will be first understanding the photonic circuits and the different then we will be understanding these quantum algorithms, and how, when I say this, Alice is generating this code, or this over here, she has put a very nice picture here, this IV everything. This is an algorithm, protocol. In the background, the hardware will work. What is that hardware or qubits when I talk? It is photons. How will you control that photons? The photonic circuits. So, and the front end, you are talking about quantum communication. Back end, you have the photonic circuits. This will be your course for the year. Okay. So, now again, we'll proceed for lunch. And 3 o'clock, I'll tell you the venue where it will be. We'll be having it here only today because it will be a Wowala session. It will be telecasted. They will tell you about the numerical tools. If we have the software on some of the computers, we'll just give you a demo. We are not going to do the hands-on. They will just give you the demo about the tool for photonic circuit simulation. So we'll have it here from 3 to 5. Okay. So let's proceed for the lunch. Okay. Thank you. Anybody having any? I hope everybody, even if you never studied this before, everybody has a picture now. The whole workshop, what we will be dealing with now, right? Priyanka, Satish, girls. Okay then. So we'll proceed for lunch. Again 3 o'clock. Okay.
You can keep the bag.
You can leave your bags. You can come on.